In sports, if you want to be the best, there are no off days.
You know what I'm grateful for? I am grateful for this podcast. I am grateful for the friends that help make this possible. I'm even grateful for this podcast. So welcome on into the NODPOD. I'm Scott Smith. We have Chris Cato.
You're thankful.
I'm thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you, too.
Yes.
And I'm thankful for me.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for what you provided for this week's program.
Well, you told me to get ready to feed the crew, to feed our guests.
Yes.
And so I whipped up a
And these aren't your Thanksgiving leftovers, right?
No, because we haven't eaten yet at my house. But
You still haven't eaten. Okay.
I did concoct. This does have elements of Thanksgiving in it.
Okay.
And it's not green bean casserole, so don't worry.
And this is a callback to what episode did we first bring this up? I
Probably
believe it
not-
was
it
a
pre-100?
NODPOD Gazette?
It was a pre-100 episode, I think.
I think
on
so.
98
Yeah,
or 99.
It was a NODPOD Gazette when BK put us to the test and said, is this a real headline or not? And the headline was...
DiGiorno has come out with a Thanksgiving pizza that has turkey and gravy and cranberry sauce and potatoes on it and that kind of thing. And we said...
Of course. That's
sure.
got to be real.
We said sure.
And we've got to try it.
And it was real.
Yeah.
But when we get later,
Okay.
when we get to
All
the
right.
food, I'll
Get
explain why it's
We always
not
do this.
delivery and it's not DiGiorno.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. I always get ahead of myself. Whenever I know that food is coming, I kind of want to just speed up, but we can't do that.
No.
At this moment in time, I mean, this is pretty shocking because we've had, 106 episodes. This is 107, I believe. 107. And for all the previous 106, there's one thing that has been a staple. You and I have both missed shows. You know, believe it or not.
Did I take a day off?
Believe it or not.
This
yes,
is
you
no
did.
off days.
Yes. One person that has not is Brian King. All right, let's welcome in our producer for today's episode.
Hi.
That would be Brian. No, it's not BK.
Yay, upgrade.
It's Becca Ollier. She is one of our great producers here
She's
at
our
Fox
executive
13.
producer.
She is the executive of executives.
Yeah.
Although Brian is also an executive, but he falls under a different category.
We can show people the flow chart.
Yeah,
if
are
want
you
to.
ahead of
Yeah.
Brian on the how does it go?
Yeah.
I think we're right on the same level.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you'll be perfect for this then.
Yeah.
So you are filling in. How does that feel?
Feels great. You can just call me RO. I know he's BK. Just call me RO. We're good to go.
All right.
Okay, RO. That'd be for Rebecca, but we don't call you Rebecca.
Yeah, we call you
So
Becca.
if we called you BO, would that be offensive?
You know, they
Okay,
did that
I
to
see
me
what
in
you did.
school. It's fine.
Okay. Hey, well, welcome in. I hope this feels kind of like driving, like a test drive of a brand new vehicle. It always kind of feels like, okay, smells good. Don't get too close to Chris. He didn't smell that good.
Not this Chris.
Yeah.
Director Chris behind
yes.
her in the control room there, by the way.
Okay. Well, this is the part of the show where I ask RO, what's on the program today?
Well, we have Chris Myers, who is going to be on the play-by-play this weekend
Yes.
with the Bucks-Panthers game.
Fox's own.
Yeah, and it's going to be a great interview.
Okay, I love it. Brian never infuses
yeah.
confidence into
I
us.
like how you said that.
Yeah,
you told
you
us
said-
it's going to be great.
Brian's usually like, I'm going to
Brian
grit my
says-
teeth and get through it.
Brian
but
says we'll see.
Yeah,
he says we'll see how it goes.
he doesn't believe in us.
But yeah,
okay.
that's
All right,
cool.
very good. And then at the end of the show.
And then, of course, we are all grateful for our friends here, but we gotta be grateful for our food. And we're going to have a Thanksgiving pizza that we're all going to try coming up at the end of the show.
Okay.
All
Are the
right.
people now? Are the people gathering in the newsroom? Are they ready to come in? Because usually, whenever we talk about food in studio, there's like a line out the door. But
Oh, there'll be a line.
okay,
For
okay,
sure.
very good.
I hear them already. I
Yeah.
hear the stampede.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Becca.
Hey, thanks for
RO.
having me. I'm very grateful to be here.
Well, we'll catch up with you momentarily.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, go get your bib and your friends.
I'm ready.
And we'll have some Thanksgiving pizza.
I will get that
a little
bib.
bit later
Yeah,
on.
and
All right.
tell BK to get well too, because he needs to edit this show, so we get him back on his feet.
Yeah, I hope he's back tomorrow. I know
use the
how to
poor fella.
edit, but
Okay.
he can come back tomorrow.
All right, very good.
Thanks,
Well,
RO.
All right. If
Thanks.
you're listening and you want to watch, go to fox13news.com/NODPOD. If you're watching and you want to listen or subscribe, you can take out your phone, zap the QR code on the screen in the bottom right-hand corner, and there you can find all of our shows. The 106 prior ones would feature a gentleman named Brian King, but he may not be with us anymore. We'll just see how Becca does. We'll see how BO/RO/Becca Ollier does on today's program. Go to fox13news.com/NODPOD. All right, so because it is Thanksgiving week, I feel like we ought to just start right out of the gates discussing what we're thankful for.
Well, first of all, the salvation I have through my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, number one, and all of God's blessings. Every year, I told you guys last year on this very podcast that this is my favorite holiday. I love Christmas too, but I do get too distracted by the commercialism of Christmas sometimes, and I think Thanksgiving really is about what it's supposed to be about, which is looking around you, taking stock of everything that you've been blessed with in the past year of your life, and also looking for ways to use those blessings to help others. So, and I love food and football. I mean, it's just the best. It's the best holiday. What else am I thankful for? This ill-fitting T-shirt, Scott, that used to fit better. I wore this last year on the Thanksgiving show, and now it's too tight.
Too many turkeys.
And so I need to evaluate some things in my life right now. Maybe cut back on some of the starches, but we're not going to do that on this show, clearly. And I'm grateful for you, for being on this podcast, for my job, for my health, my family's health.
Very good.
I'm grateful for a lot of things. Yeah.
Well, I echo many of those sentiments: faith, family, and we love football. So, speaking of football, what should certain players, programs, fan bases be thankful for this Thanksgiving? So, we're going to come up with a couple. And let me start first in college football. I think Gator fans, I think you have to be thankful for Scott Strickland. He didn't bite earlier this season. We go back to, I believe it was September 14th. I remember it like it was yesterday. A report coming out saying that the boosters have raised enough money to fire Billy Napier. Since that moment, and him not being fired, and we had on our program a gentleman who talked about this report, and we all believed that it was going to happen. It didn't happen. They held the line. Billy kept his job. Now, are they going to the national championship game? No, they're not. They're not going to be in the playoffs. But we saw a team that since that moment has been 5-3. We've seen some upset victories. We've seen a team on a positive trajectory. We've seen young players get better. We've seen a DJ Lagway that you don't want him You don't want him leaving this program.
Right.
And if Billy's fired, perhaps that happens. Who knows where this program would be had they fired Billy on September 15th. Are they sitting bowl eligible right now? I highly doubt it.
No,
I highly doubt it. So kudos to them for not always taking the first instinct, which is we're 3 games into the season. It's not going the way we want, even though we all knew this was the direction that this team could potentially face this year with as tough a schedule as it's going to be. And they didn't. They resisted the impulse to fire a coach, and I think that's a good one. I think it's good for college football as a whole.
Yeah.
But I think Gator fans should be thankful that Billy Napier is still their head coach. Does that mean he's going to be here for the next 5 years? I don't know. I'm just talking about this season moving forward. I think you've seen enough promise here in the second half of the season.
You said that so well. That is perfect, and I totally agree with everything you just said. I'm going to mark that off my list of things I was going to say that people should be thankful for in Florida. No, but everything you said is so true about that. Here's another aspect of college football where a lot of programs should be thankful, and it has a tie-in to what Florida just did. There are a number of programs. I'll go through a few here. Well, I'll go through some conferences. The ACC should be grateful, especially SMU and Miami and Clemson. The Big 12 should be grateful, especially
for the Pac-12.
Yeah, for the Pac-12.
And such a bad TV contract.
Right, yeah. And here's what they should be grateful for. They should be grateful for Florida beating LSU beating Ole Miss. And they should be grateful for Oklahoma just embarrassing Alabama in Norman, Oklahoma, just trouncing the Crimson Tide, who had everything to play for. Both of those teams, Ole Miss and Alabama, laid a huge egg last weekend, and it opened the door for so many other teams. So you've got at one time we were talking how many SEC teams are going to get into the college football playoff. 4, 5? Will they go 6? No lower than 4, right? Well, now you have one team that's left with 1 loss. That's Texas. You have 2 2-loss teams. And then you have 4 3-loss teams. And so now Indiana didn't look good against Ohio State. So there's the conversation of, are they going to be left out altogether? Because it's really, that game showed they couldn't play with the big dogs. Well, now after Bama and Ole Miss lose, Indiana's back in the conversation. Penn State's practically locked in. Notre Dame as well. I mean, so many spots open because those teams didn't take care of what was in front of them.
I got a couple in the NFL, a couple guys that I think should be thankful. Russell Wilson, I think he should be grateful and thankful to his former team, the Seahawks, for trading him away. I think the Steelers are a much better team. They're currently 8-3, and they might have be coming off a loss or whatever, but better than the Seahawks. They're positioned better for the postseason. Defense is better, and he's kind of revitalized his career after what was a couple rocky starts there. So Russell Wilson, I think he's got to be thankful for being a part of that Steelers organization. I think Saquon Barkley has to be thankful to those New York Giants because they could have, and thankful that they gave Daniel Jones such a fat contract, because then they couldn't afford to pay for Saquon Barkley. You know, they didn't even offer Barkley a contract.
It's incredible.
They could have even traded him at the deadline last year. They decided not to do that to get something in exchange for him. Instead, what's he doing? He's tearing things up with the Philadelphia Eagles right now. So I think he's got to be thankful that he would not be with those Giants at this point in the season after we just saw what the Bucs did to him last week.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Saquon, I mean, it's fair to discuss him for MVP. He is. Yeah, he's just tearing it up. Yep. If Lamar Jackson doesn't exist, he's definitely leading the MVP talk. Yeah, the Giants look really ridiculous at this point. I'm good on my thankful stuff. What about you? Got another one?
I think Mike Tyson's got to be thankful to YouTube.
Yeah?
Yeah, for creating a character like Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And for him, he made, he landed 18 punches in that match, and it was about $1 million per punch.
Yeah.
About $1 million per punch. He's got to be thankful for that. And I think he's got to be thankful for a tattoo artist that put that thing on his face, because I feel like his life has taken on a different trajectory. Who would have thought a 58-year-old? I think Mike Tyson without that face tattoo, probably not boxing at 58.
No, it's signature now.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't recognize him without it.
Yeah, it adds to the little dash of crazy. And I think that helps a 58-year-old get back in the ring.
That and gnawing on your glove.
Yeah, he's got a biting fixation. Yeah. Everybody knows it. We've known this for years now.
He's got a biting fixation.
All right, I'm thankful for the NFL, and I'm thankful for our guest. Well, Chris, we are thankful for some more Bucs football back on Fox this weekend. And for more on that, we introduce a second Chris to the program. How about that? Play-by-play man announcer on Fox, Chris Myers, on the call this week. Bucs at Carolina. Chris, thanks for jumping in with us. You are now the second Chris. So Chris Cato, meet Chris Myers. Beautiful. Chris, it's a wonderful.
Much better dressed. He's a much better dressed.
I wear this in the shower in case there's a breaking sports story. I run right out, but thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
A man always prepared. So we've been trying to kind of get a pulse of this Bucs team all season long. I mean, we've seen them when they're rocking. They seem as good as any team in the NFL. I mean, we saw that they were one of very few teams to be able to knock out Philly, and then obviously the only team that's beaten Detroit to this point. And then they have close losses against teams like KC and San Francisco. What's your read on this Bucs team, despite all the injury and all the ups and downs, the 4-game losing streak? At this point, what do you see when you look at this Buccaneer team?
Well, yeah, I think they showed early, and it was early, that they can play with the big boys. The NFC after Detroit looks really wide open, depending upon when and who's playing hot. And you touched on injuries. I think it's a little bit dangerous to be thinking about, last year they put on a run and made it to the playoffs. Yeah, but this division, not that the division's better, but the Falcons are in a position to make that a little bit more difficult. However, I do think, given the schedule, glancing at it, that and how we know they have played, I think they'll make the playoffs. Whether they win the division or not, that'll be determined probably by what Atlanta does in their schedule. Obviously, the losing 2 games to them through the tiebreaker changes things dramatically. But, I'm a believer. I was a believer at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. Chris, you've watched a lot of football over your years, and I know you've seen some of the best who have ever done it. But when I look at Vita Vea and just some of it's not all the time, but we saw a glimpse of the freakish strength on display last week up at MetLife Stadium when he just picks up a fully grown man, I believe he was a center, and he just moves him like a rag doll. I mean, when you watch this guy, first of all, you talk about pass rush, and the Bucs really generate that pass rush from their interior defensive linemen,
right?
Which is great, but like Vita Vea, just how can you quantify what this guy brings to a defense and how disruptive he is when he's playing at his best?
Yeah, well, he might be the best out there right now. We've seen some good ones, obviously, with Aaron Donald retiring. However you want to get specific about positions. But as far as interior linemen go, that can change a game. And look, he's double teamed on a regular basis. And I'm with you. I mean, watching the physical force, whether it was tossing a lineman out of the way, or just almost like a freight train coming at the lineman, shoving them into the quarterback. Yeah, I mean, it's and doing something with it, not being dirty about it or doing anything that might the officials might say. This is just raw strength and power, but with direction, with conviction, and I love. I love throwing. I know the coach was asked about, hey, will we see more of that? Put him in the backfield. We don't need, the brotherly shove. We need Vita in the offensive backfield to help pave the way sometimes, because I saw him clear people out, or just the fear of players on either side of the ball. The other team, when they see him out there, they worry about him, and they're going to get run over by him, and it opens up holes from that standpoint. But yes, he's one of the certainly premier currently, and you're right, the inside I shouldn't leave Cansey out either, because they do provide a lot of pressure, so that the defensive ends or the pressure from the outside has to get the sacks. But Vita Vea is entered. There are a few defensive players that are entertaining to watch just by themselves in a game, no matter what the score is. He's one of them.
Yeah. We are going to take a quick break with Chris Myers, but on the other side, I want to talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. It's coming to Fox in New Orleans this year. Of course, Chris has covered many of them. That and more next on the NODPOD.
Chris, as we look ahead, and I hate to the football season goes by too fast as it is, but here we sit at Thanksgiving week. I don't think it's too early to look ahead at the Super Bowl on Fox. Next February, the way teams are positioned now, who in your mind has the inside track in the NFC and the AFC?
Oh, you want a prediction right now?
Yeah, I just want to see where Chris's head is, yeah.
Well, no, you're right. It's never too early, but Bill Belichick, right, always would say, it's the games, after Thanksgiving if you play your best football, you got a good chance. Of course, that was easy for him to say when he had Tom Brady on his team. So, but the Bucs are a different team with Baker Mayfield. I've noticed that. No disrespect to what Brady did when he was in Tampa and won that Super Bowl, and Baker still has that to shoot for. But the way even what he did with the Giants and the Tommy DeVito thing, having a little fun, that he was that way in college, and he's matured a lot in a good way, but he still has fun. And that they hear about juice and energy, which he brings anyway, but that helps a team like this. So I think the Bucs will be in the playoffs. To me, the Lions are just, even with the injury on the defensive line, they're just too balanced. Their offense, even when they struggle, they find ways to score. They can not only score in a lot of ways, the Lions can score fast. They can chew up the clock. Jared Goff, I think, is, people can argue there's some other candidates out there based on the time we have, but to me, an MVP type season, I would take him over, Lamar Jackson any day of the week in terms of being my quarterback with a team around me like that they have. So is their defense vulnerable? The Bucs have shown that, but that was a different time. I think Detroit's gotten a little bit better. They've had injuries that they've had to deal with. So to me, they're in the NFC. They're at a level, and everybody else it's wide open behind them, right? I mean, it could be the Packers, the Lions, it could be the Bucs. It depends who gets hot at the right time. The AFC is a lot more wide open. I didn't think the Chiefs were going to get back to the Super Bowl, and I still don't. Buffalo looks good right now. But I think the AFC is much more wide open. I mean, you could be a Steeler team or a Ravens team. Houston could put on a run. I know they're not playing great football at this stage of the game. So to me, if I had to pick right now on the AFC side, I probably would go with Buffalo. And the Chargers are a sneaky team because they've got a star quarterback who finally is getting good coaching from that position, and their defense is really strong, and they can run the ball and play a little bit like Detroit, but they don't have, the kind of playmakers. So that would be kind of a long shot team on the AFC side.
I mean, I'd love to be able to hang out at a Super Bowl party with you and just hear all your wonderful stories. But for those of us that can't, you actually have a book that is out and it's available right now. That Deserves a Wow, and it just dropped this week. Is that correct?
Yes, thanks for mentioning. I happen to have a copy here, and I was just
love it.
And look, we use WOW, and it started back in my Sports Hunter days, and we use WOW more than we realize, especially in sports. Home run, wow, a great catch, wow, and it's also sometimes in a little bit of a shock, not necessarily positive. Somebody, hey, I had a I ran into another car today. I'm okay. Wow. Sorry to hear that, whatever. So this book covers a lot of the good and the bad in sports, but it's not so much about me, but it's through my lens. Some of the famous people that we have watched over the years and famous events. I just mentioned a few, and how I began in the business and radio, interviewed Muhammad Ali at 16, and then later almost getting beat up by Mike Tyson. And then the famous interview with O.J. Simpson when I was on Up Close. That was the first live interview after both of his trials. And then, Bill Murray wrote the foreword, who's become friends from, doing the ESPYs and golfing and hanging out with him, was an astute sports fan. So there's a lot of that in there. It's really more than a sports book, but I appreciate you mentioning, because I wasn't really thinking about writing. I'm a TV guy or, TV radio guy. And yet I was like, I'll write it like I'm talking so that people enjoy it. So I didn't want it to be homework. I wanted it to be kind of entertaining or inspirational or fun and still informative.
Who did Mike Tyson want to punch more, you or Jake Paul?
Probably me. It had to do with, it's when he first got out of prison and was fighting again and sitting at his house. And I'll condense the story, but basically I was showing him covers of Sports Illustrated that, kind of, I guess, chronicled his career. Hey, here you are, you're fighting your first fight, or at this age, you're the heavyweight champ. And then I brought up, here, you bit off Holyfield's ear in this fight, and he just freaked. I mean, we're sitting by the pool not too far apart at his Las Vegas estate, and he lunged, and I was trying to provoke him, cussing, swinging his arms, and I mean, my life flashed before me, because if he would have snapped me in half. But thankfully, one of the guys he sparred with, and I think it was like a bodyguard, they each hooked him and got him right when he got to my face and pulled him back. And I turned even more white than I am, and I said, Mike, if you don't want to answer, just tell me, we'll leave. And he sat down and calmed down and finished the interview, and then was very gracious, which was kind of interesting. And some of the things he said in that interview are in the book. It tells you more about how, his mind, how he could snap at certain points. So hopefully, I saw him in the ring, he's in good shape, but probably shouldn't be fighting at where he is in his life right now.
Wow, that deserves a wow.
Myers versus Tyson, Netflix next spring.
I don't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think I would be. I'd be running around. In fact, that's what crossed my mind. Like, should I jump in the pool and try to outswim him? I mean, a lot of things go on when I don't know if he actually would have hit me or just, thrown me out of the chair. All that was kind of going through my mind. But if for a pay-per-view, if I could last, maybe just how long I would last in the ring.
No doubt.
As long as when he catches me, the fight's over, right? He can't throw a punch. I might do that, and we can donate the money to charity. So maybe we can have our people work on that.
We would never see it for the buffering, though. That's the problem. So one of those, I don't think so. I could ask you about so many things that you've covered in your career, and I'm sure many of those are detailed in that book. Maybe this is in here too, but I'm not going Super Bowl or Daytona or World Series here. This time of year, one thing we all enjoy after our Thanksgiving meal, sometimes before, is sitting around and watching the Westminster Dog Show. And yes. I know you have called some of those. So give me this may not be in the book, but it may be. Give me your wildest Westminster Dog Show moment, like the thing that made you say, wow, I can't believe that just happened.
Well, finally, a German Shepherd finally won a few years ago. We still haven't had a Golden Retriever win. And this is almost 150 years. This is the longest running competition event in the U.S. other than the Kentucky Derby. So I've been doing it for a few years, Fox. And this year, by the way, it's back at Madison Square Garden. It's the Monday and Tuesday night after the Super Bowl. So it's a little bit of a tight squeeze. That's on FS1. Obviously, the Super Bowl is on Fox. But Best in Show, we've all seen the movie. So, and I'm a dog lover, but I never really showed dogs and was not involved in that. But I had an appreciation for how cool these dogs are, how certainly well-groomed they are, and how intense the competition is for the owners, the handlers, and what this event does for them. But the dogs, they seem relaxed and seem to be soaking it all up. So I've tried to lighten it up a little bit. I have an analyst, as I would if I was in the broadcast booth, an former NFL player. So I've had a former dog show groomer or trainer or owner who's judged, a former judge or competition. So they're good sports about it and help because I can study the breeds. It's over 300 something breeds. And then there's the 7 groups. And then you get to Best in Show, working group, sporting group, et cetera. But I've tried to work in some lines that sometimes they miss. They're so focused, like the Dalmatian will come out I'll say, hey, isn't there 100 more around here somewhere? So I know, no, this is the only one who advanced, and then they'll say
They
this
totally
is
don't
the
get
one.
it. Goes right over their
They
head.
miss, a little bit, and sometimes maybe I'm annoying them. I don't know, but I try to do it like they're the bloodhound. They'll say, hey, this dog sleeps 18 hours a day, eats a lot, doesn't like to interact with people. I'm like, I have relatives like that, that kind of thing. So just something to keep it a little bit lighter.
Well, if you write a book about that, could I suggest a title?
Oh boy.
What do you got?
That deserves a bow wow. Would
Hey,
you go along
I
with
like
me
it.
on that? Okay.
Good. Hey, you got my kind of humor. Well, I was doing a game one time where a highlight, some guy got hit, and it was a great play, but he got hurt. Well, it looked like he was hurt, but he was getting up. So I said, that deserves an owl. It was one of those that just came out. But I like Bow Wow.
He covers it all, from Dalmatians to Daytona, and he is the new author of That Deserves a Wow and a future author of That Deserves a Bow Wow. He's on the call this week, Bucks and Panthers. He is the one and only Chris Myers. Thank you so much for being part of our show, Chris.
All right, thank you for the fun and the time. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chris.
Go out and get you a copy of That Deserves a Wow, available where all books are. We can find them. You don't have to look too far. Absolutely. The great Chris Myers. All right, coming up on the other side, we are going to get into our game picks this week. We got a lot of great college football games to discuss, and someone that is near and dear to the program will be joining us on the other side.
Is it BK?
No, I wish. No. Still having an off day. What do you say we make some picks, Chris?
I would like to, but we don't have a friend to pick with this week.
Well, we certainly do.
Oh, we do?
Yes, one that is very close to the program. Once holding the title of Nibs. She was the Nibs of the NODPOD, which is the NODPOD integrated booking specialist.
Oh, okay.
But I believe she kind of left that position she had a lot on her plate. So
She had a better offer.
I think so.
Yeah.
We didn't pay very well, and that's probably your fault. But without further ado, let's welcome Taylor Jennings from Fox 13.
All right. Taylor.
Taylor's the Nibs. What happened with that? Because I felt like that was such a promising start. We came up with the title, and then it just kind of stopped there after the title.
Yeah. Well, the offers were rolling in at the time.
Yeah.
So I had to pick and choose and weigh.
Tell me that it's on your actual resume, though. Well,
that's how I remembered what it stood for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So you're saying you leveraged that prestigious title we gave you to get a better.
It was a really pivotal moment of my life.
All right.
So,
Well,
for sure.
so we should say right out of the gates that you're a big FSU fan.
Yes.
As evidence. So can you explain it? Can you put a finger on it? Can you diagnose it? Can you give us the MRI of the Seminole football program this year?
Yeah, I can sum it up in a word.
Yes, please do. We can't beep you. We can't bleep you.
Very sad. That's two words.
Very sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more than just sad.
If I could diagnose it, I think that I would be highly sought after if I knew exactly what went wrong.
I think you've got a good idea, though. Just say your heart what the biggest problem
just say
is.
It. Get it out there.
Come on. You and your FSU
all
friends.
your FSU friends are listening right now, and they agree already.
Yeah, they already
so
agree
just
with
say
you.
it.
Say it like a Nibs.
I will say I was a big supporter of Coach Norvell.
Yeah,
and I
was. Ooh, did you hear the was?
Whoa,
I
past
still
tense.
am. I
Okay.
still
All right.
am.
Okay.
But I've taken the foot off the pedal a little bit, and we're gonna have to regroup.
Yeah, it's a wait and see.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, he fired some people. That usually helps.
I was
all the people
sad
that
for them,
screwed it
happy
up.
for me.
They messed it all up.
Not him,
wasn't
of course.
him, no.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out
All
in the
right.
off season. It has been nice though. I know that I can't get snubbed out of the playoffs.
Okay, well, so
Feels
but to make your FSU struggles this year feel a little bit better, at least you're a Rays fan, right? So
Yeah, I mean things are going really well for
know,
me.
yeah, all right.
Anywhere you look.
Yeah, the Gators season also went
you
down
know what?
the
It all
tubes.
went,
Oh, wait.
it all went off the
actually
rails. It all went off the rails when she left us, the Nibs job.
You know what?
All right, Nibs. Time not to fibs. No fibs for the Nibs. Here we go. We're gonna pick them. We're gonna start with our Michigan at Ohio State game. Of course, Michigan unranked, Ohio State number 2. They're dead set on a Big Ten championship game. The only thing that could derail them is their Wolverines, and boy, wouldn't they love the opportunity. That's our big noon kickoff on Saturday. The Buckeyes are 20.5-point favorites.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
I think Michigan's the better team, and they're going to be the better team.
Out.
But I do feel like that spread is quite.
You said
No,
Michigan.
yeah.
I think you meant
sorry.
Ohio State is the better team.
No. Yes, Ohio State. Sorry,
Yes, yeah.
is the better team.
It's okay. You get one correction.
Thank you. I've already used it quickly. But I do think the spread is quite significant.
It's a little too much.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry.
A little too plump. Like I'm going to be.
Wait, hang on. But let's button this down. So it sounds like you're taking Michigan and those points. Do you think Ohio State will cover the 20.5?
Did we tell you we're picking against the spread?
We didn't tell her very much. You know?
Yeah, you didn't.
She's again very busy.
Yeah,
right?
I am very busy.
okay.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying I think it's a little bit.
Okay, so you still think Ohio State
Correct.
and will cover? Okay.
Okay, she thinks Ohio State's going to cover. I am with her. I'm not going against the Nibs. She's never been wrong about that before.
No.
Now, here's the
early.
thing. Michigan has won 3 in a row. Ohio State has...
In the series.
In the series, correct. Yeah, not in the season. They're 6-5. Ohio State would love nothing better than to embarrass Michigan here because they've actually got the Wolverines down where they want them, and Ohio State has everything to play for, including that rematch you mentioned with Oregon for the Big Ten championship. So I think it's going to stay a tight game because Michigan does have a good defense. Ohio State's defense is really good, so I think it's going to be like a 10-point, 14-point game in the fourth quarter, and Ohio State's going to score a cheap, meaningless touchdown at the end to push it past that
Put them
total.
in a body bag.
Yeah,
It'll be one of those things.
And Buckeyes cover.
I gotcha. Yeah, I don't even think it's going to be that close, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think these two teams really are even close in terms of talent. And Ohio State, I think, is, especially in Columbus, I think they're going to put it on them. And yes, Ryan Day, of course, feels like he has to exercise some of those demons because 3 straight losses to Michigan was the only reason that people even discussed him being on the hot seat. And so I think he takes care of Michigan on a down year, and they get the big win, and we have an Oregon OSU Big Ten championship game. All right, in the SEC, the Battle of Tennessee. Who thought that this would even be a battle? We have 11th-ranked Tennessee paying a visit to Nashville. The Vanderbilt Commodores. They are 10.5-point favorites, but I venture to say in years past it would be at least twice that. Right. Vandy's been a feisty team. How do you think this goes down at noon on Saturday?
I'm taking Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
To cover?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think that they can.
Because Vanderbilt has they've messed up some good teams.
Yeah,
now.
including my team's season.
Right.
Well, they started it.
But I feel like it's going to be Vanderbilt's game to win. You know what I'm saying? Or to prove that
they have to. They'll have
right.
to. They'll certainly have to prove it against Tennessee.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
That's
so you're going Vols there.
Yes.
Big orange.
Which is
Okay.
The talent's there.
Yeah, I'm scarred by what I just witnessed this past weekend when we had Alabama and Ole Miss. All they had to do, Taylor, Scott, was take care of business. Beat opponents that they were highly favored over.
Yeah.
Ole Miss being Florida, Alabama being Oklahoma, and they failed. They crumbled, and that's where Tennessee's in that position now. If they win, they're likely not in the SEC championship game, but they likely are in the college football playoff. But if you lose to Vanderbilt, ouch. I don't think this is a 10.5-point spread. Vandy has covered in all 6 games that it's been a double-digit underdog. I don't think Vandy wins, but I think they make it very nervous there for the Tennessee Nation. And so Vandy covers, Tennessee wins. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I just think at this point in the season, the tape is out on Vandy. I don't think they sneak up on anybody. Tennessee going into their place. I know they're going to be jacked. They're going to be ready to go. Tennessee is just hands down better, both sides of the ball in terms of talent. 10.5 to me is like not enough. I think the Vols win big in this rivalry game because they sense that Vandy is a real threat. And I just shudder to think that if Tennessee were to lose this game, that you could face a scenario where you have every team in the SEC with at least 3 losses at the end of the season. If you had, but
I don't think Texas could get there.
Well, if they go to the championship game and lose
the championship.
So, and then you have a real conundrum because now it's like the committee's thinking, like the SEC is great, but they're all 3 lost teams. There's just it's
you know what that means? Bama's back.
Yeah.
We're back. Let's go, Vandy.
Oh boy, yeah, you should be dreaming for that.
Yeah.
Another big one. We got an ACC SEC showdown. The Battle of the Carolinas. We got 18th ranked South Carolina played the role of spoiler already this season, taking on 17th ranked Clemson. Clemson is a 2.5-point favorite on their home field. Noon on Saturday. Another good noon kickoff. Taylor.
On behalf of reporter Kylie Jones, I will be taking the Gamecocks. Yes, no, I fully believe as well that they're on a hot streak.
They're hot,
right now, and
dangerous team.
I mean, there's always that kind of bad blood between South Carolina and Clemson.
Huge
so
rivalry game.
Go in there with the hot streak, and I think they can pull it off.
Yeah, look.
That would mean a lot.
Okay,
if they dumped on Clemson, that could be the end of Clemson's season.
You had the Gamecocks winning outright. They win the ball game.
Yes.
Okay, good. Me too.
Oh, good.
Yep, we're on the same page there. Look at these two teams. Which team has played better this season? And more consistently, it's been South Carolina against tougher competition. And you've got Lenora Sellers, the Gamecocks freshman quarterback, gets better and better each week. He's actually running that offense now. But it's the defense for the Gamecocks that is the reason that Clemson's going to lose this. These edge rushers they have, it's Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard. They're going to get after Cape. We've seen him pressured really in 2 games. Against Georgia, lost. Against Louisville was able to get after him and get in the backfield. They lost both of those games. I like South Carolina here.
Okay. I think those Clemson Tigers get it done. There's just so much at stake for them. This is the difference between making the playoff and not making the playoff. This is the difference between them being in the ACC championship game. Even though they have 2 losses, they rank ahead of Miami right now. And if you had to draw it right now, it would be Clemson in the ACC championship against SMU. And I think Dabo's got his team right here, proving the doubters wrong. I think we see a big game on the ground from Cade Klubnik. And I got Clemson going in there and covering that by a field goal. All right, Miami paying a visit to Syracuse. The last speed bump on this trip here for the Canes. Could the Orange be that team that derails them and maybe kills their playoff chances? Canes are 10.5-point favorites on the road, and this is a 3:30 kick.
It's hard for me to pick Miami in anything.
You just can't. You can't bring yourself to say it.
Right, but I've kind of convinced myself that Syracuse could make it interesting.
You have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
But I don't know that they've played enough higher end teams this year. But they have.
Yeah.
I mean, they got, what, 8 wins? Is that right?
8-3. Sneaky 8-3. And Miami hasn't really played many higher-end teams either.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, look at me. Sitting here on my hands.
These 2 teams hadn't played anyone.
I've just naturally.
Once they play each other, will you say they played somebody?
Not for Miami. I'll say Syracuse.
Syracuse did. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna take Syracuse.
All right.
You are?
Yeah.
Just because you can't bring yourself to say it.
If anything, I helped Miami by saying that, so.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Things haven't gone well for Florida State this season. She did point that out.
Give me something.
Okay, I've got, so these are 2 of the top 3 offenses in the ACC. They both score a lot of points. Syracuse actually has more passing yards per game than Miami, which is a little surprising when you consider it's Cam Ward on the other side. Cam Ward has been sloppy with the ball lately. And has put his team in harm's way in some games. Now, last week they had they blew Wake Forest off the field, but in the game they lost against Louisville and other games that have been tighter than they should have been. So he's got to be careful with the football. I think Miami wins, but I think on the road at Syracuse, with Syracuse the way Kyle McCord's slinging it, the way to beat Miami is to attack that passing defense. I think this is going to be closer than 10.5, so I'll take Syracuse to cover.
So high scoring game. You're going to take the over.
Yeah, over 68,
yeah.
Scott.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's a lot of points. Yeah. I do think it's going to be a high scoring game as well, but I just think that Syracuse's defense is bad. Miami's defense is not – they're inconsistent, but they do have players.
Right.
And so for that, I'm leaning Miami, even on the road. I mean, crazy things happen up there. Especially, it seems like there's crazy things that happen there late in the season. Syracuse will pull something off, but no, I think Miami gets it done. I think they cover it. I mean, 10.5. That's 5 minutes of offense for.
They score quickly. Yeah.
All right, finally, it's a battle down in Texas. We have number 3 Texas Longhorns. They are a 6-point favorite heading into College Station. 15th ranked Texas A&M. Could they potentially derail Texas's chance at a SEC championship game? Taylor, what do you like? 7:30 under the lights.
I think that would be fun to see, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah,
Texas too good.
Texas is rolling.
It's a little Texas two-step.
That's it.
Go to Maggie's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has Texas done so impressively though?
Matthew McConaughey.
What is their best win? He is good.
All right.
What's their best win? Is it week 2 against Michigan on the road?
No.
Is it at Vanderbilt where they won by 2?
You're gonna make me bring up their schedule, aren't you? Yeah.
My point is they have not dominated anyone. And they're quietly a one-loss team. Not quietly, they're loudly a one-loss team, but no one really looks at the fact that I don't think they're playing their best football right now. Now, Texas A&M, just lost to Auburn, and I do think that was a look-ahead game. I mean, we even heard, who's their coach? What's their coach's name? Mike Elko slip up and say in a news conference, say we're totally focused on Texas. I mean Auburn. I mean, so that was a look-ahead spot there. Weird things happen at Kyle Field at night. That place is going to be rocking, and this is a play-in game for the SEC championship game. I'm going to take the Aggies to pull off the upset here and give the Now the Longhorns still
upset win.
Yeah, upset win. Yeah. Now the Longhorns still get in the playoff because that's only their second loss, but they don't have to go play Georgia again. So actually, it might benefit Texas to lose.
And they're probably are they still in the SEC championship game?
No. Texas wouldn't be. It'd be A&M and Georgia. Georgia's locked in. So the winner of this game, it's a play-in to the SEC championship game. So maybe that benefits Texas to lose. They get to sit at home and rest for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Aggies aren't going to really try. I'm just kidding. I'm saying I'm going with the Aggies to cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got it the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just don't see that. I think it's an interesting story. But Texas, they may not have played the best talent this year, but they have dominated most of the teams that they've played. And so again against Georgia, obviously that was Georgia's their best game of the year, right?
Oh yeah, they brought
Georgia's best game of the year. But they put it on a Florida team that is now much better. They beat a Vandy team.
Florida didn't have Lagway or their starting running back. Texas beat Arkansas.
Was that for the entire game?
For the entire game, Texas beat Arkansas by 10 points. They just beat Kentucky by.
Oklahoma stinks too, right?
Yeah, they all. Yeah.
Sorry,
they all stink. They all stink. I know what you did there.
I'm going to say Texas. I think Texas on the road. I would like it to be close. Should I give them the points? No. I mean 6 is too low.
How is this not going to be close?
6 is too. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be rivalry. I think it's going to be close, but again, the spread is 6.
They haven't played each other in 14 years. They're going to be frothing at the mouth.
The spread
this is Kyle Field.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm telling you,
He's
people.
selling it.
Okay. Well, I say Texas, and maybe it feels close, but I think it's more than 6. All right. There we go.
Boy.
Those are our picks.
Feeling.
How we do, Taylor?
I think you did great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you did great too.
Thanks.
I don't think
You did
Chris
great.
did. I don't think Chris did very well.
I think we agreed a lot, actually.
We'll see.
All right. Hey, will you stick around and enjoy some pizza with us?
Yes.
It's Thanksgiving pizza on this Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
We're thankful for Taylor Jennings as our guest picker on the Nod Pod. Stay with us. Our fun block is next.
Best nibs ever.
Time to. Oh, it smells like a Thanksgiving feast inside the Nod Pod studios. That's because we have something between us. There's friction between us. Could you please unveil to the good people in Nod Pod land what we have here?
Can I say first something to the good people at Kroger, this grocery store that's supposed to exist, though we don't have one in the Tampa area? You know, we told you at the beginning of the show that we wanted the DiGiorno's frozen Thanksgiving pizza.
Yes.
And I reached out to the good people at Kroger because it's a Kroger exclusive. You can only buy it at Kroger. And I said, hey, famous podcasters here.
Right.
We want to sample your pizza on our podcast and tell people what we think about it. Nothing. I got nothing back from
my gosh.
the Kroger Media Relations Department.
They ghosted us.
They put me in the freezer like that pizza. So what did I do? I went down to Santoro's Pizzeria
there we go.
in Tampa.
Let's hear for our friends
this
in
is
Santoro's.
New York family moved down here, started this great New York style pizza shop.
This is about 3 times the size of a DiGiorno pizza.
Look at this thing. They have a Thanksgiving pizza, Scott. I've been telling you about this.
So again, we go back. We talked about this on a prior episode, how they were making a Thanksgiving feast on a pizza. So what do we have on here, BK? I mean, Chris.
Well, if you look at this, you see, first of all, look at the gravy. The gravy just glistening under the spotlight there.
It's lovely.
You have these beautiful dollops of cranberry sauce.
Dollops.
Yeah, covering also the base of the pizza is mashed potatoes.
A bed of potatoes.
And obviously just
I want to die on a bed of potatoes.
And you also have chunks of turkey on here. Do you see the chunks?
Yeah, don't blow chunks.
And then my favorite part may be the stuffing. Do you see the stuffing?
Okay.
Yeah.
But
see?
I thought you called it dressing.
Oh, in the
I'm
South,
glad that you capitulated.
Yeah, in the
That's
South
good.
we call it dressing.
Yeah,
but it's stuffing when it's on your pizza.
All right.
So
well, hang on. We're going to get to this in a moment. I first, because it's Thanksgiving week, and it's, of course, it's about pies, right? And it's a pizza pie, but we lift high pie on this show.
We hold it in high regard.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, in fact, last week we celebrated a holiday that we celebrate in my household called Piesgiving. 3 years strong. I invented it. Thank you very much. And we just eat pie. and that's it. And then we vote on the best pie. And it's all about pie because that's what most of us care about when it comes to Thanksgiving meals. But I heard a nasty rumor that I work with somebody that actually despises pie, that actually won't even – there's not a pie that you could put in front of this person that they would say, yeah, I'll give that a shot. On principle alone, they deny pie. And I cannot abide with this. So without further ado, let's bring this nasty character onto our program. Evan Axelbank.
Yes.
There he is. Look at him. Look at him. He's just so grossed out by the thought of pie. What is wrong with you?
Look at all those books behind him.
Yeah, he reads a lot.
I read a lot, so you got to use every chance for a background here. You know, you show off the books. You don't just read the books to read them. You use the books to show what you've read, right?
Yeah, I'd
you
beat
read the
you over
books.
the head with one if you offend the name of pie. That's what I would do.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal. I am not anti-pie. I don't hate pie. I don't dislike anybody who ever had a pie. But pie is not for me. I've never had pie, and I'm not even intrigued at all about having a pie.
You're not intrigued at all.
Not even remotely intrigued I don't even think at all about what it would be like to have pie. It doesn't even remotely interest me.
You've never smelt a pie and said, boy, that smells good.
No.
What do you do on Thanksgiving?
So,
what kind of places do you go on Thanksgiving?
I will tell you that I pray at the shrine of the black and white cookie. That is what I have for my
Evan is
various...
a walking Seinfeld episode, by the way, just so you know.
That is
he
true.
He looks to the cookie. That's what he's doing.
I do look to the cookie, and I'm a black and white cookie man, and I love them, and I will always have them, especially on Thanksgiving. Here's the deal. Before this took on a legend of its own, I had never had a need for pie. I'd never known about pie. I never had an interest in pie. It never even remotely made me curious.
Yeah.
But then one day, as word started getting around, my legend began to grow. And as that legend grew, I have now dug in my heels.
Yeah.
And I am now doing it out of spite to everybody else who gets so angry that I don't have pie.
Yeah. I can't believe you were never pie curious at one point. And so you're telling me in your childhood, your mother never said, Evan, here are some desserts you can choose from. Cake, pie.
Well, she might have said I can
black
choose
and
from
white
them,
cookie.
but I always took. Yeah, I always took and had I always took the black and white cookie.
Well, that's the amazing thing here is I want to establish for our listeners, you do like sweets. This is not a man who doesn't like sweets.
No.
And so do you understand, though, that pie actually tastes sweet? It's sugar. It's delicious.
Yeah,
he's thumbing his nose. He's thumbing his nose at everybody who enjoys this. And he's sitting here very proud. Look at him. Behind his giant bookshelf of books. He's so much more well-read than all of us. He's more enlightened. He knows what life looks like without pie.
What a
and he
sad...
thinks he's found it.
Now, I realize what this looks like, okay? This is really not me being arrogant. I don't wish to enforce my views on anybody.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I never had a need for pie. Okay. I never had a want for pie.
Didn't have a need.
And as it got around, it started to be kind of a fun topic of conversation. Yeah. And I can definitively say that I have never had a piece of pie.
And never will? Or would you?
So that's another question. So here's the deal.
Oh, okay.
Here's the deal.
He's
People have offered me various things in exchange for my eating of pie.
Like an organ? Like if you need a kidney?
So let's put it this way. If one of you is in need of an actual organ, and me eating a piece of pie will help procure that organ for you, I will be glad to do that. That's a good reason to break the streak.
So you would do
this.
But
what I have decided is that I kind of would give it up if, like, in exchange for like a charity auction kind of thing. Okay. So, like, I'm not talking a few $100, though that's of course a lot of money. I'm talking like in the thousands range, the 5,000, the 10,000. You know, you give that to charity in exchange for me eating a piece of pie, and I'd be willing to do that.
Okay, we just need to find a worthy charity.
Yeah,
there's lots of them
our
out there.
NODPOD audience is going to be on. We're on the case. We're
and again, this is not going to be a token charity thing. This is going to be
a legitimate
a community-wide rally.
Yes, a world-shaping event.
Maybe not world, but our area, maybe Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Do we get to pick the pie that you try for charity?
I probably would want some ownership of that. I'd probably pick the pie.
Okay. Well, all right, that's fair.
I would say my one slight alteration to this idea is that it's a pie smashing in Evan's face type of
yes,
charity.
you do have a
That's
thing
what
for
I
that.
think.
Yeah.
I think that's what
It could be like my wife. It could be like my wife and smash
There you go.
it right on there. Like
You're
she
right
did
there
for
with
There you go.
the chief dessert smasher in the
I
face.
know.
Is
The
right
fact
there.
that I've taken a cake in the face before you've taken a pie in the face from Haley is a shame.
That is true.
Well, we thank you for being a part and being a good sport. And you know what? I'll just say you're missing out.
Here's the thing.
You're missing out.
You saying being a good sport implies that this is some kind of weakness. I don't find this to be something to be derisive towards. This is who I am.
Scott's saying we're sorry for your illness. We are sorry for your this illness you have.
Being a good
Obviously,
sport by
there's a
what you're putting
deficiency.
yourself through.
Yes.
And maybe you're the charity that we'll find.
There we go. There we go.
We do.
It's good to see you guys, and happy Thanksgiving, by the way.
Happy Thanksgiving. We're thankful for you and being on the program.
Much love to you
He's one of
guys.
our favorite people here.
All right.
A great man.
There you go. One of them.
We're about to dive into some pie here on the pod, and it's the pizza pie that is Thanksgiving. All right, we have friends here. Thank you, Evan. Thank you for being a part of it. All right, let's come on out. Let's try this thing again. We got a base of potatoes.
Right.
We got cranberry globs. We got turkey chunks. We got stuffing dollops, and we are ready to dive in. All right, grab a slice. Taylor, I know you're still here. She just made picks, but now she's back. I'm gonna take a slice.
We want you to be honest too about
this one looks better.
how you feel about the taste.
Okay.
I may have overbaked this one. I left it in the warmer for a while.
These are huge slices. Okay, here we go.
All right, they're getting in there. Wait. Make sure that make sure Kaylee gets one. And Caitlin.
I love it. I mean, this was a very gravy-saturated bite that I took, but mashed potatoes.
You got a lot of gravy in there?
Got
have some reactions around the
Stuffing.
microphone once someone gets.
What do we think?
Gets
Very
an opinion.
good. Love it.
Okay. All right, loves.
Wow. This is good.
You like it?
Come back to me.
Taylor is not. All right, hang on. She's got to get a little cranberry, I think. Yeah.
I think the best way to describe this pizza is, you know, like when you have Thanksgiving leftovers and you're like, I'm going to make a little sandwich.
Throw it on a crust.
Yeah.
That's
There you
exactly
go.
what it's like.
Okay.
This is a leftover pizza.
All right.
You know what I would like them to have done is maybe the crescent roll crust. Maybe
yes.
make the crust out of a crescent roll.
All right. But before we start saying what they ought to have done,
Santoros.
we thank our good friends over at Santoros.
Well, wait, they didn't give this to us. I paid for this, so thank me.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
And then, yeah, Santoros makes a great pie. Stop by Cass Avenue, Cass Street in Tampa. Anyway,
I like it. All right.
Happy Thanksgiving.
BK's missing out. That's all. Get well soon, BK. All right, we miss you, and we are thankful for our audience that has tuned in. All three of you, Chris's mom, and probably my mom, and
Hope so.
and probably Taylor. That's it. I think. Yeah. All right. Until the next time we are on, there are no off days.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.